The next topic that I'm going to talk about is something that might be new to you. So we want to see how we can model something from scratch in Revit. For example, we may want to design a custom bench or custom light fixture or any other thing. And you can create all of those just by using some kind of extrusion in Revit. So let me show you some examples here. So what you can see here on the ceiling in this image, you would be able to create these pictures by extruding some surfaces in your Revit model. So the same is for the walls. So you have some squares that are extruded. Let's switch to the next slide. Okay, the same is here. So you can create surfaces or lines using spline and then extrude them to get to this type of shapes for lighting fixtures. These ones again are some type of extrusion. And the same is for this wall. So you see some of these shapes are created on the walls, some are on the ceiling, and this does matter when you are modeling them. I'm going to explain later why actually that matters. The same is here. And in this slide, actually, you can see that this whole gray part of the wall is an extrusion of a shape. Or even this bench, we have one extrusion here and the other here. So this way you can create cool things and objects in your model. Now let's get back to Revit. Let me delete these. Okay, so for this chapter, you are going to create a custom countertop using this method. But right now, I'm going to just show you some basic tips. So I'm going to start with a very basic square to show you how that works. So go to Architecture tab, Component, and Model in Place. Now, you should determine which category your model belongs to. So is it a casework, ceiling, or what? So I'm going to select generic models right now, okay? And then you can specify a name for it. So you can see we have different tools over here. We have extrusion, blend, revolve, sweep, swept blend, and also one other tool here, which is void, and it can be used to kind of create a hole in your positive shapes. So we can have both negative and positive shapes. Now, because I want to create a cube-like shape, I'm going to use extrusion. And then I'm going to use the rectangle tool to draw just a square. And as you can see in the options bar, the depth is 1 feet and the offset is 0. So, and from here, it starts from 0 and ends at 1 feet. Okay. Now let's hit check and see what happens. I'm going to switch to 3D view. Not this. Okay, and you see the shape was built. Now, you may want to change the instance properties from here. For example, I want to change its height to 5 feet. So I'm going to change this to 5 feet. Or you can just use these grips to adjust it, okay? Let's change these to 0 and 5 feet again. Now let's switch to the north elevation. Okay. So you may not want your model to start from this level, which is actually your model reference line or plane. So if you want, you can change the extrusion start. So it's right now it's starting from here. You can change it to, for example, 3 feet and hit apply. So now it is 3 feet apart from this line. So it starts from 3 feet and goes up to 5 feet. So right now, because I started drawing my model in level 1 plan view, my work plane for this shape is set to level 1, and these start and end extrusions are based on that level 1. Now in Revit you have the option, and actually you are free to specify your work plane, and it could be any surface, and you're not limited to your levels. However, when you start placing your model in a plan view, like what I did here, Revit automatically sets your current plan view as your reference plane or work plane. But this is actually different when you start placing your model when you are in an elevation view, for example. So for now, just let's hit the green button to finish our model. So now I'm going to show you how we can set a reference plane or work plane. Now imagine that I want to create a shape on a wall. Okay, so I'm going to add a wall in my plan view. Just like this. Now let's switch to north elevation again. Okay, so go to component, model in place. I'm going to select generic model again. Okay. So I'm going to select extrusion. Okay, now you see Revit is asking me to specify a work plane or reference plane. Because I am not in a plan view, it asks me to actually specify one. And so I have 3 options here. And the first one is to choose, this name one. It allows me to just select one of the existing work planes from this menu, okay? And as you can see, they have specific names. It's important to notice a reference plane should have a name in order to appear in this list, okay? And actually, because Revit considers our levels as work planes by default, you can see our levels in here, but later I'm going to show you how to create a reference plane other than these. So the next option is pick a plane, and the last one is pick a line and use the work plane it was sketched in. So for now, I'm going to use pick a plane because it gives me kind of freedom to choose whatever surface or plane I want in my model. Now I need to select the plane I want to be my work plane. So when you're doing this, make sure to select your plane correctly and pay attention here, okay? So I'm gonna click here. Okay. Now if I click on this button over here, show, it will show me the work plane which is active right now, okay? So I'm gonna turn this off. Now that I've selected my plane, I'm going to start drawing my shape and model. So I'm going to create some shelves on this wall. So this is a simple example just to show you how this works. So again, if you want to make sure you are working on the right or correct work plane, you can select this to show you the active work plane. Or if you want to just for any reason just change your work plane and set a new one, you can select this one and change your work plane. So I'm just going to cancel this right now. So I'm going to start with the rectangle tool. And I want to have an offset. So I'm going to use the tab key to select all. I'm going to change this to, for example, 3 inches. I'm going to use the tab key. Okay, and now I'm going to add some shelves. So I'm gonna offset this one, and I'm gonna make some copies. So multiple. I'm gonna just copy these. Okay. Now, if I hit check here, Revit will show me an error. So let me show you. Okay, so lines cannot intersect each other. So we need to clean these areas. Okay. So I'm gonna split. I'm gonna split these and then delete them later. Okay. Now hit check, and if I go to 3D view, okay, you are able to see this. Now you can use either grips or you can adjust it from here. If I go to plan view, so this is my shelf, and this line actually on the wall, this surface is my work plane. So this extrusion end and start, this is the start and this is the end. And if I change this, you can see that the number changed here. Now let me finish the model and go to 3D view. Well, now in this method, well, if you want to have a backboard for your shelf, you need to create it separately and put it on the back of your shelf and then join them. But I'm going to use another method so you can have your backboard as part of your model. So right now you can, this part is my wall. We don't have a backboard. So this time I'm going to create a void in our solid box. So let's go to the component, model in place, generic. Okay, let's switch to this view. Now I'm going to use extrusion. I'm going to pick this plane again. Use rectangle tool. So I've used the rectangle tool to create my solid box. Now hit check and go to create tab. Well, I'm still in the edit in place mode, so I haven't checked the green button twice to finish my model. You can see it here. Okay. So this time I'm going to select the void extrusion. Okay. I need to pick a plane, so I can pick this one this time. And now I'm going to draw a rectangle. Okay, and hit check. Okay, so if you couldn't see the void, Actually, this is the void, okay? If you couldn't see it, then change your visual style to wireframe, and then you would be able to see this, okay? Go to level 1 and change this to wireframe, and this is actually our void. So I'm gonna just, okay, this is our void. This is going to be our backboard for our shelf. I'm gonna make it a little bit narrower. So, okay, now you can finish your model. Okay, so we have a backboard right now. Now, if you want to change the work plane of a shape, actually, you created before like this, you can. So the work plane for this was set to level 1. So I'm going to change it and set it to this one, this surface over here. So select it and then select. Actually, you need to double click on it and then select it, and from here pick new, select pick new, and then you can pick this surface over here. Okay, so it just changed, the work plane has changed from level 1 to this surface, and then finish model. This is actually so important because sometimes you may load a model into your project, for example, from a specific manufacturer, like a lighting fixture, for example, and then it is not correct. I mean, it was not created correctly. So, for example, instead of facing down, it's facing to front, and you may need to change it. So you can fix it this way. Now, let's delete these two. Okay, now I'm gonna create some freeforms on the wall, this time using Spline. So I'm going to Architecture tab, Component Model in Place, Generic Models, okay, and then I'm gonna use Extrusion, pick a plane, this one, and then I'm gonna use Spline tool to draw some freeforms over here. Okay, I need to add these boundaries as well. Okay. So now we have this kind of shape. Now I'm gonna just create a circle here. So double click to go to sketch mode again. And then I'm gonna add a circle. And hit check. Okay, so I just created this shape so easily using this extrusion tool.